Welcome everybody to the course. This is Gerontology 600 seminar, and I'm Maggie Syme. I'm your professor for this semester online, spring 2018. Okay, so I wanted to make this intro video just to give you a sense of what the course is going to be about, talk about some of the larger projects that you'll have, and just give you some of the policies as well that will govern the class. So, here's a home page, and then I'm going to spend some time here on the syllabus just going over the nuts and bolts of the class first. All right. So if you want to look at the student learning outcomes for the Geron program, you can follow this link. But the more important thing I think for these purposes is to understand the course description and what I want or I'm hoping that you get out of the course. And throughout everything that we're doing and everything that I've designed for this course, my central purpose or goal for these activities is to help you learn how to think and act like a gerontologist. Simply and straightforward. There'll be a little lecture about that in this week, thinking like a gerontologist and what kind of skills that involves and what kind of theoretical models we generally apply to each topic so that you can really start to think and act like a gerontologist. Part of that is that you'll be reading This Chair Rocks, a Manifesto Against Ageism by Ashton Applewhite. Fantastic book. We got lots of great feedback from the students about how much they enjoy this versus a traditional textbook. It goes over lots of different areas of aging, and she really just attacks ageism. And ageism is one of those fundamental and powerful concepts in gerontology or aging studies that you will need to fully kind of embrace, incorporate, understand as a gerontologist, know how it impacts older adults, but know how it impacts policies and society and your own self, and that'll really help you sort of step on the steps toward thinking like a gerontologist. Here are the objectives from my course that I have. A lot of them are a little bit broader about some of the skills or things that I want you to be able to do or understand. But the last one is really about a practical one that will be your final project, which is you're going to develop an understanding of a challenge that we face in aging, and you're going to propose a brief program or project to address that problem. So this is your manifesto against some challenge in aging that you choose. The course requirements, this is a breakdown of the points. I want to say up front that there are not a lot of total points in this course, but that does not mean that there is not a lot to do or, regular amount of work to do for a 3-credit course, advanced 600 level course. But there are 146 points, and that might that's a little strange for some people to try on at first because they're used to, 500, 700 points. But that's just my philosophy, is to make things worth a smaller amount, broken down into smaller increments, and then the larger points for the course be a smaller amount than most people are used to. However, if it makes you feel more comfortable, please do times all of these points by 7 in your head, and you can think about the course in that way. So if you get 2 out of 2 points, times that by 7. Oh, I just got 14 out of 14 points on that. Fantastic. So if it helps you think that way, you're welcome to do that. But each of these areas of the class is broken down into a percentage, and that's really what I want you to think more about, is what percentage of my total grade is this worth? Then, that was just worth 10 points. Try not to think in those terms, but in the proportion or percentage of what that's worth. All right, so for participation, there's multiple different things. One of them is there will be these mini activities or worksheets or quizzes or things that will be due during the week of class. So this is the one kind of deviation from the usual due date. My usual due dates are Sunday at midnight or Saturday at midnight, but these midweek kind of participation activities are usually due on a Wednesday by either 5 or Wednesday at midnight, because I incorporate them into a final video of the week that brings together your participation in the content of the class and the interaction of those in a reflection by me. So all those little participation activities are usually due on Wednesdays. And those will be noted in your course assignments and due dates. Participation also includes group discussions, commence eye rolling and shrugs by all online students. But we really try to make these very engaging for you guys. There's only 3 of them across the semester. They're open for 2 weeks. The first week is always you are, digging into the topic and readings and challenging yourself and posting one kind of bigger post. And then the second week that it's open, it's about you guys replying to each other. And I will be in those doing a little bit of active posting, encouraging you, calling you out if it's getting stagnant or boring, or trying to move it forward. So the goal of those discussions is really to move us forward on a topic. We don't want a bunch of, yeah, that's great. Oh, that's cool. I thought that too. Yes, that's fantastic. That keeps the conversation right here. What we're trying to do is move the conversation forward or up as we go. Pose a different question, point out an exception to the rule, play devil's advocate, however that is that kind of moves that discussion forward. There's also one aspect of participation that's unique for this online course, which is we have one live class, which is the second to last week of the class. It's our second week. Topically, it's our second week of Death and Dying, where we watch a documentary and then we all meet together in some form or another, whether it's online via Zoom, in person in the class, or if absolutely necessary, watching the video of the class, interacting afterwards and reflecting. But we meet together. And that's one thing that students have asked for in the past. So I instituted it, and everybody seems to be pretty on board with it all the time. And I sent out a doodle poll to help us get our schedules kind of together and the most people in the room as possible. So that together is worth 20% of your points in the class. Reflections, there aren't many, and they're not worth a whole lot of points in the class, 6%. Each one of them, it plays an important role, but they're just not very many of them and not very labor intensive, so they're only worth 6%. The first one is for week 1, which is to introduce yourself. And I'll go over the module for week 1 so that we can kind of get a sense of what the modules are, how they work, how you're going to interact with the class content. Next is tasks. So think of these as like assignments or assignment plus. They're sort of spaced throughout the semester. They're related to the topic of that week, and they might be due within a week, but some of them you take a couple of weeks to do them because they involve a little bit more interaction with the content. Most of them are worth 10 points, but one is worth 15 points because it is more labor intensive. But they cover a lot of topics like ageism, informal and formal caregiving, living wills, and end of life. So those kinds of tasks. Those are worth a larger percentage, right? 38% of your grade. So that is where a lot of your points are coming from. And similarly, worth a lot of points is your final project. So your final project is something that you will start essentially this week. So it's a cumulative project, and it starts and you sort of think about what you want to do, and then you dabble into it a little bit, and then you write a short summary paper, and then you get up to your presentation and everybody watches it and reflects, and it takes us all across the semester. So what you will be doing for your final project is having some kind of manifesto against some problem in aging, as I mentioned earlier. You will pick a topic early in the semester. In fact, let's just go to that assignment module so that you can kind of see some of the due dates across the semester. So here's just a general area for you to get more information on the final project and what the heck is a Pachachkacha presentation, which is about a 6 and change minute presentation full of visual slides where you provide audio in the background describing your challenge and, most importantly, telling us what you're going to do, what you think we should be doing about it. And aside from all of that information, I would read early on in the semester to get yourself acquainted with it. Your topic selection for the manifesto will be due February 25th. So that's, coming up in about a month. Your Aging Manifesto short summary paper. So the next thing you're going to be doing across the semester, right? So in about, after you've solidified your topic, in about a month from that, you're going to write a 5-page double-spaced research paper on that topic or that problem. So let's say you pick dental health, poor dental health care for nursing home residents as your problem or challenge. So you will be writing a 5-page plus paper on, you know, how much of a problem is it? Who is it a problem mostly for? Why is it a problem? What causes it? What are the potential outcomes of it for people? And leading up to that sort of, and something needs to be done, right? And that's something is going to take you to the end of the semester, May 7th, where you are going to be giving us an online presentation in Pachashkaja format of that problem. And specifically, the majority of that will be what you propose to do about it, or the program you think we need, or project that you would like to enact if you could and had the resources to address that specific problem. After you submit that, then everybody's submissions go into a file in this class, and we all watch all of them, and then we do a mini reflection on that during finals week. That is how your final project will take you from the beginning to the end of the semester. All right, let's go back quick and just pick up on the syllabus where we were. So in your final project, again, that's a bigger chunk of points, right, 36%. For a total of 146 or 100%, right? So you can see all of these assignments. You should be able to see most of the information for all of them already in the assignments tab. And again, the final project has a whole module, so definitely look at that early on. So what are the expectations for class? In an online class, sometimes it's hard to know what the expectations are because, you know, you're sort of doing things in a vacuum. A lot of times there's not a lot of feedback because you're not in a classroom and understanding, like, what is it going to take? And oh, well, this person's doing this and I think I'm keeping up with, you know, this guy and that girl. But what you will expect from yourself in this online class is that you should log into Canvas every day and check your Canvas email every day. Or most days, you know, maybe not Saturday and Sundays, but, or I mean, sometimes multiple times a day if it's in that sort of time right around, you know, an important the in-class meeting or something like that. But I send out announcements a lot for reminders and different things that are available to you. So definitely expect to check in. So if you miss something that I sent out, an announcement that went out to your Canvas email or whatever email account you have it connected to, you're definitely accountable for that, as you are accountable for everything on the syllabus and in the course outline. So keep that in mind. I send out a decent amount of reminders in the announcements just because, you know, there's a lot to keep track of in an online course. So I try to help you guys out a little bit there. What you can expect from yourself otherwise is to have good time management skills and organization. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces in this class. And if you go to the modules, you see that very top module is a course outline. You print off that course outline and you kind of map yourself out in the weeks. You can cross things off as you go or highlight things that are coming up, or that will help you organize yourself. But there are a lot of things to keep track of, right, in any class. So you need to be able to organize yourself. The other thing you expect from yourself is engage as much as you feel you want to get out. So there are a bunch of learning opportunities. I give you a ton of cool readings and videos, lecture videos plus outside videos. I send you out information that I'm getting off of my Twitter news feed and things in aging as we go along. There are tasks for you to do. There's group discussions for you to participate in. There are a bunch of ways for you to learn in this class and to be able to evolve into a gerontologist. What is up to you is how much you take advantage of that. I would highly encourage you to take as much advantage of these learning opportunities as possible, not only because the experience of this class will be better, but you'll get a better grade if you take advantage of them, and you'll get much, much closer to that goal of thinking and acting like a gerontologist. At the end of this, many of you, it's your last semester here at K-State. We will be sadly sending you off into the world to do and work and maybe go to a little bit more school. But, this is our chance to really develop. So we want to get in as much in before you leave as we can. What you can expect from me is that I will respond to emails or questions within 24 hours during the work weeks. Email me at noon on Monday. By noon on Tuesday, I should have emailed you back. Unless for some reason I have a family emergency or am, pretty much close to my deathbed because I'm sick or something like that. But I usually try to alert people when those happen so that they understand that it might take me a little longer. A lot of times you're going to hear from me a lot sooner than that because I have an email checking obsession. It's one of my many problems, right? So on the weekends, I don't guarantee that you'll hear from me at all, but you will hear from me on Monday. Oftentimes, if it's an emergency or there's something that you have that just has to be answered, I'm usually checking my school email at least once a day on those weekends. So chances are I might respond, but I'm not going to be accountable for those days. Monday, you will hear back for sure. What you can also expect from me is that I'll provide feedback on your assignments within 7 to 10 days, unless otherwise noted. Like I said, it's emergency or there's a spring break situation where you sent something in and I've got 35 papers to read. It might be 11 days, but I might tell you, this has taken me a while. It might be 11 to 12 days, but I'll get stuff back to you. That's a rarity for me, though. What else you can expect is that in this environment that we create, it's a community between us all, right? Including myself, but including all of you. And that I am partially in charge of supporting and helping that community evolve. So I want us to, have through discussions and reflections and our in-class meeting, a sense of who we are and that we are all learning together, and that each one of us is responsible for making this class move forward in ideas. But I'm a facilitator, so you can expect that from me. You can also expect that I'm available. If you want to meet in person, hey, if you want to meet weekly in person with me, let's set up a time. I challenge you to stick to that schedule. I've yet to have anybody take me up on that, but if you want to, I'm available. And if you want to meet at any point in time, if you want a mid-semester check-in, if you want to meet right before your final project is due, or you want to discuss something about your short summary paper, email me, set up a time. I'm available by email. I'm available by Zoom. You can see my face if you don't live in Manhattan. If you don't want to see my face anymore, you can email me or call me. If you want to come into the office and you live here or you're available to come here, that's great too. I encourage you to come in and talk with me as much as you possibly can if you are really interested in developing some of these ideas that we have in this class. Class policies. Speaking of getting the most out of your learning opportunities, how to get the most out of online discussions. I mentioned this before, but really what we want is to move the discussion forward. We don't want to start here and end here, right? So if I'm posing something about some provocative topic and aging, like how in the world do you adult parents or adult children and older parents get on the same page about where that person's going to live? We don't want to start here and end here. We want to start here and we want to end over here, right? We want these ideas and we want each other to get pushed forward to talk about that next thing. Well, what if that, though? Did you think about this? Or that's an interesting point. I didn't think of it that way, but what about this exception? Now, those types of things are how we move discussions forward. So part of that is built into your grading structure. So you can't just respond to somebody with, I agree, that's a really cool idea. Wow, I'd never thought of that before. That's a great start. Now I want you to add and move that discussion forward. Also, we want to make sure that we're adhering to the rules of netiquette, right? So that's etiquette on the net. And that means both contributing, so how to contribute to a discussion, but also how to make sure that we're creating a safe and confidential space for people if they want to disclose, say, things about their family. Oftentimes when we're talking about these topics, people talk about their grandparents, their parents, their own experiences, and not that any of those necessarily are something sort of sensitive for people, but if they are, we want to make sure that we're keeping it confidential. So we don't go off and say to our roommates, to our partners, to our family members, to whomever, you know, to the barista at Starbucks, hey, guess what this person said on my online discussion? No, you know, this is a place where what you say about yourself and what you say in general about things is kept in this space. So that's part of etiquette. If I see us violating some of these rules of etiquette, I certainly will approach you outside of the discussion if I think that you or someone else is involved. But I will also encourage people as a group, if we're kind of veering off into a direction, to veer back in a different direction. So. But we're all responsible to keep our online discussions in a positive way. And again, most of you intuitively follow a lot of these rules. I just want to make them explicit so that if something happens when we violate them, we know up front, oh yeah, that's right, there were these things that I was supposed to be doing. All right, this one is always great. Not necessarily for me, but for you guys, there is a late work policy, and every semester I have people who need to have this enforced, to put it nicely, I guess. So pay attention to this, read over it, please understand it, and take it to heart when you're thinking about either turning in or not turning in an assignment. There's points to be on the table. If you have it late, I encourage you to turn it in as soon as possible, but you know, you also want to have something, right, that's of quality. If you are, in fact, in a crisis and you either alert student services or you have a doctor's note or something like that, I will take that documentation and take that into account and may extend or adapt this late policy to you, but otherwise, the late policy stands. Plagiarism policy, academic dishonesty, academic accommodations. Please read through these, and if you need accommodations or if you find something that isn't up to the standards of your needs, something that isn't as accessible as you need it to be or isn't in a format you need it, please let me know as soon as possible. I am committed to getting that to you back in an accessible format as soon as I can. The university has some expectations of classroom conduct that they've adopted for online students. There is a weapons policy statement, certainly via online, but just for your reiteration, and plus we're meeting in person, so please know that. There's a concealed carry statement and some important tech side information, right? So ways to help Canvas work well and where to go. And the one thing that isn't in here yet, but I'm going to add it, which I just got some language for, is a food and living situation security statement for students. So be looking for that in the next week or so and refer to that back. And what that means is if you're a student who is food insecure or living situation insecure, there will be a clause about who in or what office to contact, as well as to contact myself so that I can help garner some resources as well. Okay. All right. So this is the classroom policies in the syllabus. Let's get back up to the top. And I want to take you just through a quick overview of what the modules look like. So the modules are basically how you're going to know what you need to be doing for the week. Those are going to tell you all of those little activities, readings, videos to watch. The first one is a course outline. There is an attachment there for you to get. Definitely get that and print it off and look at all of those. It's all of these things in the modules composite into one Word document by week. Here's your final project module, which has all of those different things that we looked at before. And then we have a module for each week. So I'll give you just a rundown of the week 1 module and a reminder that week 1 is this week. So it's usually the weeks, right, run from about Sunday to Sunday. So that will be, this is week 1, next week is week 2. So that's how that timeline will go. In the module, if you open it up, there's always a title, and we start with the overview and objectives. I give you a little bit of information about what you're going to be reading, some objectives for the week, and some questions to think about as you cover this material. Then we move into the activities portion of the module. So this is all the things you'll need to be doing for this week. There are readings that you will have each week. Some of them will come from your book, This Chair Rocks. A lot of them will come from additional articles that cover particular topics. And also any assignment, discussion, anything like that will be listed in the activities this week. You have to introduce yourself for your first reflection. I also have to introduce myself, so I'll be preparing that in the next couple of days. Due dates are, if not listed directly in the module for that week, you just click on the link for that particular assignment that is listed and it'll take you right to it. Then there's the presentations, lectures, videos. So these videos have been edited this semester, so this is not great. This is not necessarily the case. Most of the videos I've edited to cut out other semester references or assignments that are referred to that are not your responsibility. So they should all be edited out for you. But these will be for week 1. This is the video for intro to the course that you're watching right now. Population aging you'll be watching, and thinking like a gerontologist you'll be watching as well. Let's take another look at another module just quickly to see. So next week is social theories of aging. We'll give you the overview, the objectives, things to think about, and then what readings you have. And you have another reflection next week, and then these 2 videos to watch. So that's just an example of a module. So each week, that's your main place to go, right, to look through what you're doing. And if you want to keep track on a larger sense, then go to that course outline. All right, so welcome to the course again. I am happy to have you all and interested to see who we've got this semester. I always like to see what cast of characters we come up with. We're going to have a great semester. We're going to do a lot of fun things, some challenging things, and we're going to make a lot of programs to assess challenges in aging, which is the exciting part for me, is to see what you guys are interested in and what you're going to do to change the aging world for the better. So come on board. It'll be fun, and we're going to have a good semester. I'll see you all in the videos this week.